is an invoices thing.
Right.
This is an additional project?
This is your final, your individual. So your group project is due next week after Thanksgiving. And then this final is due the week of finals. So the following week. So you should have enough time. Let me know if it starts getting to be a problem. The thing is, make sure you limit yourself to the record so that you're not adding extra work for yourself, because you should have time to do both projects. If you don't have time to do both projects, if you start adding extra to them. So be careful, especially with that shipping project. It can have a tendency to kind of grow on people. And make sure you're really limiting your scope to what you have. And sometimes that can be hard for us because we see all these options that we can do and all these great things. So what do we need to do? We need, the best thing for the Jeopardy game would be a data access class that reads the XML file. Just takes care of it, so you don't even have to worry about it anymore. And then in your main form, you could read through those arrays to display. Well, actually, in your main form, you could do it however you wanted. You could just have buttons that just display the numbers. And then when you click them, it could go using the button name or something and get access to the question array. Or you could have it all set up in classes, however you want to do it. It'll take you a little bit of time to get that set up. But again, you know, you don't have to have your button that shows 100. Doesn't have to do a lot of extra stuff other than know, okay, this is the category that I'm in. So here's my question and answer. It would be really nice then if you had a question class that just kept track of that information. Then whenever somebody clicked on a number, you could just, bless you, create an instance of your question class, pass that to a little form that displays that question. When they click OK, you could check to see if the answer was right or not and update your question class. And then when your subform got done and closed, that updated question class would be available to your main form to display whether they got it right or wrong. So try to really minimize your work with this one. Try to really focus things so that you only have a few methods to create and a few classes to create. Your hard work is going to be in your data access class, reading your XML file. And then in your button class, deciding which question they clicked on the button. So hopefully we have everything spread out to where you'll have plenty of time to get everything all done. Now our issue is with your certification exam. Don't forget Dr. Ford is doing that session tonight. So if you look at Discord, you can get this practice session in tonight if you can. I'm going to look at the upcoming events section. That's where she has it posted. Well, maybe I won't. Let me kill it and start it again. Did it? Okay, good. So on Discord, under the upcoming events channel, Dr. Ford has this posted for tonight. Remember, she said it's going to record. So if you can't hit it tonight, that's okay. You'll be able to watch the recording. But make sure to add that to your calendar that you want to go over that and watch that. I would imagine it'll take her an hour, maybe two, as a practice study session. And like I said before, she has a lot of really good ideas and suggestions. The best study that you can do, this is hard for everybody, but the best study that you can do if you've got your assignments done in class, and the last assignment I give you was this MVC study that should go really quick. If you've got all those assignments done, the best thing you can do to prepare for the exam are these last two projects. So these last two projects and the requirements that they have are really going to focus on pieces and things that'll make you really much more prepared. So this is a really good one.
At risk of changing the topic briefly, what's this about the 125 class? What class is that?
That is the game design class. That's the prerequisite to the game programming or co-requisite. You can take them together. You can take it separately. Okay, so it's definitely going to take some focused time on your part to get everything done here at the end of the semester. When I first started teaching this class, it was a huge drain on everybody throughout the whole semester because of the workload. I've tried really hard to stretch things out and move things around so that it's not so overwhelming to you. But here at the end, it does take some dedicated effort on your part to get these last couple of projects done and get prepared for this certification exam without a doubt. So I know that can be hard when there are lots of other things going. So get your calendar situated, get yourself some time allocated. The very first certification exam I ever took was a Novell exam. That was a long time ago. And I was very intimidated. Certification was a new thing in the field, and a lot of people were talking about it, but it wasn't as common as it is nowadays. And from Carthage, I had to come up to Springfield to take the exam. And it was the first thing I was doing as a new teacher from Carthage. So I was really intimidated because big test, new thing. I went to a test center and I was out at the airport. And when I sat down at the computer where I took the exam, there were like 6 guys outside hanging on ropes outside the window. And they were all banging on things and doing construction. And then they left the window and they crawled up inside the roof and they were on top of me doing all sorts of things. And I was trying really hard to not be distracted by these guys that were climbing around this room. The very first question I had no idea. No idea what the right answer was. The very first question. I am in trouble here. So try to just stay calm and go through all of the tests, and everything was fine. I passed it without any problem. But it's definitely intimidating and definitely something that you want to stay focused when you're doing the exam. Don't let distractions like that bother you. Those guys could have very easily made me fail the exam. Don't let a hard question throw you. That very first question that I had no idea about could have set me up to where I went into a panic mode and didn't answer any other questions. So make sure you stay calm. Focus on what you know, not on the distractors that are trying to throw you off track. Okay, so make sure you focus on those things and prepare. Why did I pass that thing and all of that with all of that going on? Because I had spent dedicated time, hours and hours and hours, you know, at the family dining room, telling everybody else they had to leave me alone, studying and preparing for that exam. My way of studying and preparing is by going through the textbook, making an outline, notes. That helps me organize all of the information that's been given to me throughout the class. Sometimes in a class, we spend a lot of time typing and keeping up with the coding, so it can really help us if you just go through the textbook and kind of almost rewriting the table of contents. Not really, but making outline notes to know how to organize that information that's already in your brain, categorize it, and set it up so that you can get to it when you need to. When we take that exam, you'll be able to use a piece of scratch paper. So think about that beforehand. They call that a brain dump, where you get a piece of scratch paper and you can sit down and write down as many things as you can think of before you start on the exam that you know are things that are hard for you to remember. So whatever those kinds of things might be. Oh my goodness, it'll be fun. All right, so looking at your MTA certification, if we go back to preparing for your exam, oh, I need to give you another site. I will. Bless you. Let's go to this MTA exam study guide. Now, in the study guide, it's really short and condensed. They've tried to just give us a real quick overview of what all is going to be required. So I'd like to look at the Chapter 1 stuff today, as well as some of the introductory information. This introductory information is very valuable, and I want you to know what the right answer is to questions about this information. The right answer would be Microsoft, right? Because this is a Microsoft exam, so if you see anything that has any sort of abbreviations like that, they're usually talking about themselves. This is the first step in the Microsoft Technology Certification Series. This is an entry-level certification, so that's why we're taking it, because it's entry-level. Now let's look at career planning. It can be stressful to read through this when we have so much other stuff going on, but these are such easy questions that they're going to ask you. We want to make sure we know this stuff. So let's do some wonderful, wonderful, fun popcorn reading. Who wants to start? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Colton, start for us. Do you have it? Just right there at the top of career planning.
Most IT solutions
You're
are
awesome.
infrastructure built on Microsoft technologies required for efficiency with one or all the following products, often referred to as the Microsoft stack. Microsoft Windows Server is the data center developer platform. Microsoft SQL Server as the data and business intelligence platform, and Microsoft Visual Studios as the suite of application lifecycle management.
MTA is the starting point of Microsoft technology certifications, providing aspiring technologists with the fundamental knowledge essential to succeed with continued studies in a successful career of technology. Preparing for and becoming MTA certified helps you explore a variety of career paths in technology without investing a lot of time and money in a specialized career path. When you find a path that is right for you, Microsoft Learning Products and Certification can help you prepare and guide you for longer-term career planning. Joe.
If you already know that you want to start building a career in technology, MTA preparation and certification is the recommended entry point. And the MTA certified shows that you have a firm working knowledge of fundamental IT concepts critical for success with intermediate learning and certifications such as the Microsoft Certified Technology Specialist. Moreover, Microsoft Certified certifications demonstrate an individual's commitment of self-investment and confidence to take his or her knowledge and skills to the next full level with an industry recognized credential.
MTA is not a career certification meaning that employees recognize you as a job creator. It's the first step towards a career goal to help differentiate for internship college, admissions committees. You prepare for your first job focusing on technology. Be sure that you are equipped with the MTTS credential for intermediate level certification that validates Microsoft product technology skills. Austin.
The MTA certification path on the next page shows you the MTA exams that are recommended prior to taking on some of Microsoft's intermediate technology certification MCTs.
So here's your pathway for certifications using the Microsoft MTA certification. And notice they're saying now that you should be striving to get this MCTS certification. So it's an always changing, always evolving environment. As schools, community colleges, and high schools started offering these MTA exams to students, there became more and more people that held those certifications. So now they're saying you need to go a little bit higher, which has always been the truth if you want to kind of advance in your career. So let's see where we are in this thing. We're taking 361, 365, 361. So way down here on the bottom, the software developer fundamentals, but it's a very complex one. So it definitely prepares you, and most of our employers in the area value it, and they don't care if you go any levels higher. They think that it's well enough. So let's see, Austin left off. Austin, pick someone to start us up here in this job roles section, and then we'll.
I'm not Austin. I know.
Choosing a career path is a big decision. It's not always easy, but you're not alone. Microsoft created a career site to help students understand the options and possibilities of pursuing a career in IT. The site also connects you with learning resources, student techie communities, and much more to help you prepare for a career in technology. To chart your career with Microsoft technology, visit that link.
Seth is
Where are
ready.
we starting?
Database administrator.
As a database administrator, you are in charge of important databases. I'll wait patiently.
You're fine. I didn't think that it would exist. It does not.
As a database administrator, you are in charge of important databases that span multiple platforms and environments. You are a strong team player who thrives in a fast-paced environment. You build complex, highly scalable databases that meet business needs and security requirements. You are an expert in optimizing, maintaining, and troubleshooting databases, but also in designing archival, data distribution, and high availability solutions.
As a server administrator, you are in charge of implementing and managing software support technology in your organization. The servers. You use extensive filing tools to manage the network and true systems so they perform at optimal levels. You are an expert in Active Directory, and you have an in-depth understanding of network protocols and file and directory security.
Consider starting your IT career by becoming a consumer support technician. You don't need any formal work experience, but a company might require that you know how to install, administer, and troubleshoot operating systems in a home network environment that has the desktop computers, laptops, and printers. As a consumer support technician, you also handle networks, virus, malicious software, and hardware support issues. You will typically find this position in small to medium-sized organizations.
Good. So think about these job roles, because they really will embed these job roles in questions, and then they can kind of assist you in knowing what the right answer is. So this is Geek Squad, right? Support tech. Server administrator is like networking classes, you know, over across campus. So those are the people doing Windows Server installing, all of that kind of stuff. Database administrator, you really learn a lot of those skills in the SQL class. So those are the three different job roles they want you as a software developer to be aware of, because these are people that you're going to be dependent on or working with side by side all the time. So that's why they kind of go over those roles, because they're outside of the software developer role, and they want to make sure that you know who would be the right person to contact. Now, some roles that are within our software developer role, who would you like to go next? Yeah. He's looking. Should everybody turn around and look at you so you can point at them? Let him point at you. Who do you pick? Who do you pick?
Nobody wants to read that.
Okay, go for it, Noah. Thank you.
Are we reading from the web developer?
Yes.
Okay. As a web developer, you're an expert in using the dynamic programming tools and languages that fuel the web. You might work independently or be part of a team that builds and integrates You might also architect websites, design data-driven applications, and find efficient client service solutions. You must have an in-depth understanding of the software development lifecycle and be able to communicate project status, issues, and resolutions.
Good.
Should I keep going?
Nah, pick somebody else. You're awesome, though. Noah's ready.
Okay, Windows developer. As a Windows client developer, knowing how to optimize Windows code and track bugs is a given. But you also know how to use Microsoft Visual Studio's and Microsoft.NET framework to design, develop, test, and deploy Windows-based applications that run on both corporate servers and desktop computers. Your key talents include understanding multiple Windows application models and in-tier applications, and knowing how to work with object-oriented programming, algorithms, data structures, and multi-threading. Windows developers have an in-depth understanding of software engineering principles, software life cycles, and security principles. Additional online sources there.
Yeah, and those sites are probably obsolete too. We'll check. Yeah, they're keeping them up to date. Maybe. Got me off of the right place though. Okay, cool. So I think that you guys all know the value of certification. That's their last little blurb before we get into our actual material. Now, each different section has a different color, so we know when we're in a new section and when we're done with it, which is really helpful. Each of them have about 4 objectives like this. They're really short and sweet. When you get to the first page, it's going to have the scenario and the question, and then pages after that are going to have the answer. So don't peek ahead and look at the answers until you've had a chance to think about it and we've had a chance to talk about it so that we can decide, see if we're right or not. Michael, will you start with this first scenario?
Yeah. Which of the following data types would be the best choice for the
Read the scenario first.
Oh, gotcha.
It's like a book. You gotta read it.
Kim is a soccer coach who has a difficult time keeping track of all his players. At the beginning of the season, each of his players put out a paper of personal data, but it always takes him a long time to find the information he needs. Cassie is one of his brightest players, and Kim knows that she's a computer programmer. Tired of shuffling through the huge stack of papers, he asked her to create a program to keep track of his records. The program will need to store each player's full name, jersey number, age, gender, height, and weight, as well as goals scored and the number of games played. Cassie agrees to develop the software for him, but she has some decisions to make. Want me to read the question?
Sure.
Which of the following data types will be the best choice for keeping track of players' ages and jersey numbers using the least amount of memory?
Which one, you guys? Int, short, or bite? What do you think? Whenever you are taking the exam, some of this older stuff that you haven't seen in a while is going to be really, really important. So let's think about it here. I've got
You could probably get away with a byte here.
Mm-hmm.
A byte is supposed to go from 0 to 255, I believe, right?
should.
I doubt any of our players are going to be over 200 years old. And I doubt
Shouldn't
any of the
be.
numbers are going to go that high either.
And let's see, and you think a byte would be less memory than a short. How much memory does a short take up? Does anybody remember? Let's check. So let's take a look. C# data types. And this would be a great time to think, maybe I should create a OneNote document or a Word document or something for notes for this exam. But oh wow, this is a really good one too. This is at tutorialsteacher.com, and I think it's one of the links that we use for the MVC training. So this is kind of a site that's been developing. It didn't used to exist. It's really got some great stuff here though, because it's reminding us that we have value types, like our simple types that are decimal, double, integer, all of those kinds of things. And then we have reference types that are class type data elements, because remember C# treats them separately. But right, if we scroll down then is a list of all of those data types. So a byte is 8 bits, so very short, very small. A short is 16 bits, so twice as much memory. And then an int is 32 bits, so twice as much again. Okay. So if you want to create a OneNote document, this table would be a really good thing to paste in there right here off the bat, because you're going to know then or have resources for every single different data type. Remember as you go through that this is something that they seem to kind of like to emphasize too, that long versus an unsigned long is that U. So a long data type keeps track of whether something is positive or negative. An unsigned does not. So it can hold a little bit more data, just, you know, a little teeny bit more. So that was our very first question. So that's why this study guide is kind of helpful, because it makes us think about things that we need to kind of review, because that's pretty old stuff, the easy stuff. We can review it and be ready to go. All right, read number 2 for us, Michael.
As with any program, some data will be stored on the heap, while other data is placed on the stack. Which of the following will be stored on the heap?
What do you think? Which of those 3 is different than the other 2? Player's name. Why is it different? You're right. Because it's a string, which is an object, and the other 2 are just native data types, right? So even if we're not sure what they're talking about with the heap and the stack, we can still narrow it down and say, well, let's see which one's different out of those. The next slide talks a lot about the heap and the stack, so we'll get clear on it. What about number 3?
It would make sense to store one of these variables as a char. Which one?
C. Good job. Now in this little leaf over here, they have a hint that you guys already got, that a string is a reference data type. Reference data types like objects get stored on the heap. Value types like integers get stored on the stack. It's a good thing to just make a list of. So here in the answers, they reinforce what you guys came up with, and they talk a little bit more about some essential details. Let's see, who else hasn't read? Cohen, can you read question 2 for us here, or scenario 2?
Rena created a simple DVR application to record their for Dakota Sunbug. She was a big sports fan, always wanted to record the broadcast sporting events. Even made two both were not their programs. For non-sports favorites, she does not to report reruns. However, it's a scheduled time for their programs to book another favorite and will be broadcasting measures one way of recording in the future. Unfortunately, her program is not working correctly. Television programs that she does not want are being recorded. Programs she does want are only being recorded and broadcast later. C# code with lines under it. Which line is causing them to show to be recorded now, even if they are in conflict?
Well, let's break this down a bit. So at the start, it's if it's a sports event, record the show now. Seems fine to me. So that means if it's not going to do this else unless it's not a sports event. Sure. So once we've established it's not a sports event, if it doesn't conflict or isn't a rerun, then it records. So what does that mean? It's not a conflict, and it's not a rerun, or it's not a rerun. Does that mean you need to be an and? If it is a conflict and it's on later, then it records it later rather than now. See?
Someone says it's line 8.
I mean, that's the only option I think we have.
Do it.
One. I mean, I would imagine would be line 8 because if is conflict and is later. Court show.
Look at it. What is it? Huh? Be recorded now, even if there is a conflict. Is it line 5 or is it line 8? Why is it line 5?
Just no matter what, it's gonna record it.
Because we have knots with an or.
Yeah.
So we have a bad condition there. But then on question number 2, are you sure? Because they say, how should line 8 be rewritten? So what's going on with line 8? The semicolon. But that's not the answer to question 1, you're sure? Because that's one of those ones trying to throw you off there a little bit. But you're right. That it's the or with the knots, and then line 8 has the semicolon that it shouldn't have. What about number 3, Cohen? What's it say?
Raina has placed 2 control structures on 5 through 7 in line 8. Add her first control structure.
Nesting. So they'll throw an easy one in there to make you say, that can't be right. And remember here with this hint, indentation used in the code is good programming style, but it has no effect. Because sometimes they will give you questions where nothing is indented just to ask you what's going to happen, because if you're so used to indentation, you say that it won't compile. That's not the case. So yeah, here in the essential details, they're talking a little bit about parentheses, if statements, and logical operators like ors with knots. So good. Okay, next scenario. Who else hasn't read? Tyler, have you read?
Yeah, I'll read again.
Okay, go for it.
Adriana is creating a point of sale application for fourth coffee. Her responsibility is to create a password protected login system to ensure security of the system. She's finished the login window and password check, but she is having trouble implementing it correctly. Adriana's project manager wants the system to give users reason to log in correctly before launching the system. In Adriana's most recent version, the system prompts the user for a username and password 3 times, even if the user correctly logs in on the first try. After the 3rd attempt, the system always locks out, even if the input is correct. Adriana is using a for loop, which works best when A, the number of iterations is known and is unlikely to change during execution. B, the number of iterations is known but likely to change during iteration. C, the number of iterations is unknown.
What do you think on that one?
Okay.
A.
Loops are best when you know exactly how many times you want to do it.
Okay,
So A.
good. What about number 2?
What control structure would be best for Adriana's login system?
Obviously not A, because we don't in fact know how many times we want to do it. B,
Don't we?
really
I thought
appropriate.
it said how many times it wanted to do it.
Well, yes and no. We want to do it no more than 3 times. But if it happens to be right on the first time, well, then we want to stop. A while loop could be made to do this, but I don't know if that's necessarily the most efficient method either. Do we maybe want C here?
Because you could always, say we could do photo 2, but the while that's true, so while the password is correct, no problem with it. And you can also have a counter in it, or you can break it whenever you get it.
Yeah, I think a while loop would take care of it. And what about the 3rd one?
how many times to do while loop execute? At least 0 times, at least 1 time, or at least 2 times?
At least once. Good. They just reinforce again the things that you guys said. And then error handling. This is our last little scenario. Seth, you want to read it?
I can read it.
He didn't hear me. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Go ahead. I'm just mumbling to my monitor. I'm done. I'm like ready for Thanksgiving. I'll mumble to my monitor. Go ahead. Thank you, sir. Lionel.
Okay,
I'm still not saying it right, but something like that.
Lion. I'm just gonna call him Lion. Lion is a student. At the School of Fine Arts. At the School of Fine Arts. Yes. To help pay his tuition, he took a job in the school's student records department. He developed a program that calculates each student's grade point average GPA. He thought it would be simple because he knows that the formula is total grade points divided by total credit hours attempted. However, Lion's program crashes with new students who have not attempted any credit hours. Instead of just giving them a GPA of 0.0, here is his C# code. Double GPA. Do I need it?
Go ahead. Yeah, you're doing great.
Okay. Double GPA semicolon GPA equals total GP divided by credit hours attempted semicolon console.writeLine GPA semicolon.
So pretty obviously what's happening here, I think, is when he's trying to enter a new student who hasn't attempted any credit hours yet, it's getting a divide by 0 error because you're not supposed to divide things by 0.
Mm-hmm. That sounds reasonable. Does everybody agree?
Yep. So there's question 1.
Okay. So what could we do to handle that? What's that thing called? Try catch?
Try this, and if it fails, then do this instead.
So what code would we want to put in that try catch?
You want to set the GPA to 0.0.
Mm-hmm. That sounds right if they haven't received any credit. Very good, very good. Okay. We will look at it some more next week, probably on Wednesday, so that you can have Monday to finish all this stuff up, your little details. So lab time. You guys have got that. He's in Taylor's group. Taylor says he's sick today. So. Yep, find your group, and it's a work day, whichever you would rather work on. Actually, it's up to you.
Okay.